the idea of street performers is, my goodness, it goes back into European history. I mean, it's an old concept. Whether you're talking about gypsies, whether you're talking about gypsies traveling from place to place, village to village. I mean, the idea that somebody would perform on the street and just pass the hat is a very old concept. I feel like, and I know that Robin does too, that we're links in a chain. There's a long-standing tradition, and particularly in this city of Nashville, and on this block, this is your dead center of my cultural universe as a country musician. You know, this is where it starts. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
My name is Mike Slusser. On the streets of Nashville, I'm known as Mandolin Mike because I'm about the only one who plays mandolin on a regular basis out here. I moved here in 1998. I've been playing the street ever since. This is 2008, so it's over 10 years. I've been a musician since the age of 12. Started with guitar, picked up the mandolin around age 27 or so. And I moved to Nashville because I had played with a lot of musicians who had been in Nashville, who had recorded in Nashville or played with bands out of Nashville. And they all said, you need to move to Nashville if you want to get better. And this is where the best come. I could stayed at home and been a weekend musician, a big fish in a little pond, as it were. But if you want to swim the big fish, you got to come where they're at. And this is the place. Best musicians in the world. Any season of the year, you will find street musicians in Nashville. I've played in every season all year long for 10 years, and I'm not the only one. Plenty of musicians do. There are busy seasons, and there are seasons when you find the most musicians. But you know, from pretty much from 10 o'clock in the morning till the bars close at 2:30 at night, you can find a musician on the street in Nashville almost any day of the week. Yeah.
All right.
Good stuff. There are 100 other places in the world where you can make a lot better money, particularly if you get to a good enough level to even survive in Nashville, as far as your talent level goes. You can make more money in any city in America, more than likely, and plenty of places around the world playing American roots music where it would be more appreciated and more lucrative. But to come here and be a part of the tradition, to share our music that we made, as well as our love of traditional music with people who also want to see and hear that, that's priceless, and it's a sacrifice that we take on ourselves. I personally have brought my life down to the point where whatever I make out here is good enough to get by on. And the day that it doesn't pay enough to keep a roof over my head and food in my stomach, I guess I'll have to give it up and go do something else. But as long as it'll support that, I'll go out here and play the music because it needs to be here. I know I personally enjoy a tremendous amount of interaction with the people in the clubs, whether it be the bartenders and waitresses or the other musicians and even the club owners. And I've been shown a lot of respect, and I had earned that by coming out here and being professional and presentable every single day. I'm not drunk when I do this. I don't encourage people to be drinking and doing it. I consider it a job, and I try to attend to my attire and be professional in the way that I interact with other people. Not only their quality that I could view and learn from, but also to raise my own quality. To become a better player, you have to go where the best are, and they are here. There's no question about it. I've been able to sit. I mean, how priceless is it to be able to sit in a room 10 feet away from a guy who's been on every record for the last 20 years, you know? For myself, it hasn't happened. I've played songs for a few artists, and I know Robin certainly would love to see some of his songs be cut. I didn't come here myself to be a hit songwriter. If I write a song and it gets to be a hit or it gets pitched to somebody, I think that would be great. I think it's a good way to have a little bit of immortality, if you will. If your song stays on, you live on until people stop playing it. But at the same time, I just want the music that I make to be of quality, and I'm more worried about that than pitching it to an industry that's about, you know, a shelf life of 6 months. I don't really care about that kind of music. I want music that's got a shelf life of 600 years, you know. And I've had a guy pull up in a minivan. His family let the window down so he could listen to me play, and I played Wildwood Flower for him, an old-time song that he remembered from his childhood. And this guy's got, you know, breathing apparatus just to, you know, to keep going. And it meant the world to him that I did that for him. I walked right over to his car and played it for him. You know, you can't get that anywhere else. You know, that kind of interaction is just priceless. And yeah, and when somebody thinks enough of my music to want to take a disc home as a CD as a souvenir and share that with people where they're from, it meant that much to them. That's what it's all about. I mean, I've literally got worldwide distribution just from playing on Broadway. I got CDs in Norway, Finland, Australia, Ireland, Japan,
Isle of Man.
Yeah, all over, everywhere, you know. And I have no deal. I have no distribution. I don't even have a website, you know. But right off of Broadway, I reach people from all around the world. This is another great reason to be a street musician in Nashville. We're standing between 4th Avenue and 5th Avenue on Broadway in Nashville, Tennessee. And this district was the Mission District and was the warehouse district back in the early days of Nashville as a city, because the docks were right down 3 blocks from here is where all the warehouses were, and they loaded off. This area was always a bit of a rougher area. This is where the taverns were. This is where the burlesque shows were, and so on and so forth. And so the tent revival movement was the reason that the Ryman Auditorium was built. It was called the Union Gospel Tabernacle?
Union Gospel Tabernacle.
And the gentleman Ryman, who's named after, was a very successful steamboat captain who went to one of the tent revivals and decided that this area needed religion. And so he built a church on that site. And it was used for revivals, it was used for concerts, and it's a concert hall. And then as the WSM's Grand Ole Opry started picking up steam, it first came on the air in 1925. It didn't reach the Ryman Auditorium until 43. They tried it in several spaces, but it kept getting bigger and being more widely attended, and it just kept outgrowing every place they put it. And so in 1943, it found its home at the Ryman Auditorium. It was named after Captain Ryman after he died. They decided that it needed to have his name on it. And from 43 to 74, it was the every week home of the Grand Ole Opry radio show, which is the longest continuing running show in the history of radio to date. And it's still on the air every Friday and Saturday. And the only time it ever missed was one Saturday during World War II. And they still had the performance, they just didn't have it on the air. Of course, this is where the honky tonks are in downtown Nashville. And going back as far as the 50s and 60s, there's movies that show this district is just hopping. Nightclubs up and down the street, people coming out and enjoying the Opry, but also coming out and enjoying the live atmosphere down here. Now, the common misconception is that they had bands all up and down the street. Not until 1974, when they moved the Opry away and built the new theme park out in the suburbs, and they built the new Opry Theater and the Opryland Hotel. They took a lot of the business away, and so in order to compete with the dwindling sales, they started putting bands on the stage down here from 74 on. A lot of these places were just juke joints before that. They had a jukebox and a dance floor and beer, and that's what they did. But they were very popular. I mean, they were very popular for a very long time. So this is the entertainment district of Nashville, and Nashville is Music City for the whole world. Well, I'd like to play a song right now that I wrote about, sort of sums up the 10 years I've been playing on the street. Last year in November, we lost Porter Wagner, who was an icon of country music and an Opry star for over 50 years. And I went to his funeral along with 2 other friends of mine who are musicians and country music historians, because we felt it was a very pivotal moment in country music history. And seeing that funeral and the parade that followed it and all the other things and the spectacle of it all, I got to thinking about my own life after 10 years in Nashville. And any musician thinks about those things at a time like that. How will I be remembered, or what will be the fate of me is at the end. And this song is what came out of that, and it ended up incorporating a lot of different things about what it's been like to be a musician for 10 years on the streets of Nashville. And it's called The Ballad of Mandolin Mike. Well, my old F5, she looks a lot like Willie's guitar, I've been told. The finish is mostly gone, and here in the top I done wore me a hole. There's chunks out of the side and scars on her back. Now the old frets just look like railroad tracks. But man, you're looking at 10 years and over 13,000 hours. When I first got here, I had a temp job, and I injured my back on the temp job, just a muscle strain. It wasn't anything serious, but it took a longer time to recover from than I thought it would. And while my savings dwindled away to nothing and my rent started to get in arrears, I decided to come down here. I was walking every day to exercise my back. And I walked downtown, and I decided that, man, you know, I need income, and I'm a musician. There's no reason I shouldn't be out here playing and making a living. And at first it was it wasn't much money at all. I played the guitar the first time, and I realized very quickly that you can blow your voice out very quickly, singing song after song after song. So I decided I would try the mandolin, which would have a higher register and cut to the background noise better. And I didn't see anybody else playing mandolins. And the mandolin would allow me to do instrumental work, which would save my voice. And so I immediately saw an increase in how much money I could make doing it. And I got day jobs and night jobs after that. And I've worked, those jobs worked, playing on the street worked into inside shifts as well. But anytime I didn't have enough work from that, even when it seemed like I was working a lot, I still like to play the street because there's an interaction on the street that you don't get on stage. There's a barrier between you and the audience on stage. From the back door of Roberts to the edge of the Ryman stage. Now what's that, about 50 feet with a Stanley measuring tape? But for me, that alley's already 10 years wide. Don't know if I'll live to see the other side. You know, I came from an environment in the mid-Atlantic states, up in the Northeast, where I made, $300 a week if I just played 3 times a week for 4 hours. I mean, I can't even imagine that now. And that was 15 years ago. And now I would be, I can't even imagine making $300 a week clear just from playing 3 days. That would be amazing. Because it's more what you look like and less what you are. In a land of dress up, full of make-believe stars. Call it the late great Music City, USA. Still it's honky-tonk heaven here, every night and every day. I don't consider what I do a hustle. Guys who take the same attitude that I do, and there've been more than a few down here. I'm given a gift by God to be able to play music. I had to develop that gift, turn it into something. Put a lot of hours and a lot of sweat and a lot of years of my life into that. Then on top of that, I had to learn how to perform and present that properly. And that takes more years of my life. Then I take that as a sidewalk musician and I give that away. Completely give it away. And then I accept for a living what comes back to me. I don't think there's a more spiritual way to live on the earth. If everybody took the gifts that God gave them, developed them, and then gave them away, I think that would be the world in balance and in harmony the way it should be. Now it's no money, no honeys. For too many years have passed me by. But sacrifice to me, that ain't no reason to cry. See, I flip my own coin, I don't blame anyone. But I couldn't be bought, oh, and I damn sure didn't run. So when my legs just won't take another damn 10-hour day, and I've grown tired of my aching hands, always keeping me awake.
If you're not playing 60 to 80 hours a week, you're not a street musician.
There you go.
You're a wannabe.
You can't hide the proof.
Right, you cannot hide the
One
proof.
last time.
If you got furrows, when you can grow corn,
I had a
you
guy
get
take a
furrows.
picture of them. It looks like they've been chopped off.
Yeah, they're flat.
Cause them Broadway pickers sing with all their might. There's damn few of us left now. Oh, brothers, that ain't.
This one right here?
That one right there works. I used to joke with the other musicians on Broadway. I said, when I die, I don't want a funeral. You can just, cremate me, and then you can just take me out here and pry up some of these bricks and throw me right underneath here, because this is where I lived, this is where I bled, this is where I sweated, this is where I cried. You just scatter my ashes out on the street that music made. Then let me lie here forever on this street that music made.